still working through all roster type of things. Mindful of our players and our players' development, and I want to make sure that I'm always doing what's best for our players and, of course, our team. But with young players, I'm always thinking about last week making the change to Dylan. You have to think long and hard about that, because these are young players that you're so invested in their development. So I'll let the week play out and make a decision later on that.
By the way, I just want to say Kevin Stefanski is such a good coach. I'm not sure he gets enough credit all the time. Time now for some top stories. Adam, what are the Browns' plans for Shedeur Sanders this week?
Well, our two-time Coach of the Year, Kevin Stefanski, did not specify what his plans were. And the fact that he didn't do that today tells you that obviously they're giving some consideration to Bailey Zappi, who is on the practice squad. If Shedeur is the second-string quarterback, that means they have a rookie starter, a rookie backup, and that might not be the ideal scenario for the Cleveland Browns. Obviously, he wants to see how the week unfolds and wait until the end of the week before he makes his announcement. But the fact that he didn't anoint Shedeur today raises some signs of curiosity. Joe Flacco, meanwhile, will start Sunday against the Green Bay Packers. It will mark the second time in 4 weeks that Joe Flacco will start against the Green Bay Packers. He did it as the Browns quarterback, and he will do it as the Bengals quarterback on Sunday. Another crack at Green Bay. Meanwhile, out in San Francisco today, Brock Purdy did not practice today. And that's a sign that Mac Jones could be tracking again to play on Sunday in place of Brock Purdy, who's dealing with that turf toe injury. And Brock Purdy was not the only 49er not to practice today. No Ricky Pearsall, no Juwan Jennings. They are not counting on having Pearsall on Sunday. We'll see if Jennings can make it back for that game. And as for Thursday night football, tomorrow night, a slew of notable injuries. Landon Dickerson ruled out for the Eagles. Darius Slayton ruled out for the New York Giants. It looks like Nakobe Dean could make his season debut tomorrow night for Philadelphia. And one other injury note about that game, Tyrone Tracy Jr., the Giants running back, is off the injury report and expected to play Thursday night against the Philadelphia Eagles.
You see Jalen Carter on there as well. It seems like anytime he's been out there, he has been dealing with an injury as well, thanks to Adam. Now, speaking of the Eagles, last year they were the only team that called more run plays on offense than pass plays, running for nearly 180 yards per game. This season, however, Philly is only calling design run on 41% of offensive plays and are averaging just 3.5 yards per rush, the fourth lowest mark in the NFL. Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley confirmed that they, along with A.J. Brown, had a meeting this week amid the Eagles' offensive struggles. Here's more on what they had to say.
Yeah, we had a conversation, but I'm not going to speak too much on it. I feel like that conversation is meant to stay between us, but focus was all about the team, and I think it was a good thing.
It's just us talking about the collective, talking about taking ownership for what we can, and talking about how we move forward as a team so we continue to find ways to win games.
Love the fact that we all get together and are looking for solutions to continue to get better. That's just not a coaching thing. That's just not a leaders on the football team. That's this team. When the captains on your team and the leaders of your football team are doing that, and just focusing on how we get better and be playing our best football by the end of the year. You don't have to sit with this loss that we had on Sunday for too long. We get to go out and play a game tomorrow. We're really excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth saying that it's just the one loss that they've had.
Yeah.
Now, I realize their offense has struggled, but still remarkable the lens through which we're viewing these Eagles. What do you make of all this?
That's what we have reached with Philadelphia, is that the bar is no longer do you play well offensively or defensively. It's are you the best team in the NFL, and can you legitimately compete for a championship this season, which I fully believe that they can. As a matter of fact, I'm still thinking they are the best team in the NFL when they put their A game together. Is it fair to note some of the areas in which they have struggled so far this season? Of course, offensively, they have had some dramatic woes. This team also, since Nick Sirianni became the head coach, has averaged nearly 26 points per game. That's the second highest mark in NFL history for any head coach that has coached at least 50 games, behind only Sean Payton. There's plenty of reasons for me to believe that this team over the course of the season is going to get better. I think the reason that we hold them to a certain standard is not just because they're the defending Super Bowl champions, but also because so much of the offense return from 2024. We expect things to sort of pick up where they left off, and I think maybe Philly is given a little bit less grace to grow early in the year compared to the rest of the NFL. These are what I would call high society problems. When you're at the very top of the mountain, we got to find ways to identify issues. It's just those issues feel much more significant because of the fact that if you're not perfect and if you're not dominating teams, we're asking what's wrong. So have a lot of belief in this Philadelphia team going forward. It has not been a perfect start offensively, but a good opportunity tomorrow night specifically to get the running game going. The Giants have allowed 140 rush yards per game. It hasn't been pretty for them in terms of trying to limit opposing running backs. Maybe Saquon Barkley has kind of a vintage Saquon Barkley night at MetLife Stadium.
All right, remember, he had 176 rush yards in his only other career meeting versus the Giants.
Yeah.
You wonder, I mean, it feels like maybe the revenge is over there. He's gotten all the revenge he could ever want, but there's probably still a little
always a little room for extra revenge, right?
Yeah. All right, coming up, coaches and players may have their game plans down, but sometimes their words don't quite follow the playbook, and we love it. Here's some of those puzzling quotes that happened this week. Lost in Translation's next.
There's a fine line between a groove and a rut.
CIDP is no walk in the park.
That's true.
But I take VivGuard Hydru.
I'm just saying that, like,
That's abnormal for McDaniel's offense,
Yeah,
too.
he has adapted to the player that he has in Drake May, who is dissimilar to any quarterback that he has ever coached. So not just Josh McDaniels, but also Stephon Diggs, who in each of the past 2 games has gone over 100 yards for the Patriots, seeing north of 40% of the targets in those 2 games. He has looked like vintage Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, quick learner. That's the thing that has really started to stand out for Drake May. And you talk about that play caller. When the play caller calls a play, there's got to be a great conversation. I love this, okay? Number 1, double chips on the edges. Let's give it a chance to get the play off. We're going to send a post down the field, a deep cross, and a check down. This backer's kind of in between. Drake takes the check down. That's fine. Happens a little quick. Play caller, call it again. I'll get it right. It's going to be the very similar look. There's going to be this play fake. We're going to get this double chip on the edges. Let's give it a chance. Right, hey, a couple plays before we ran this, Drake, you might have got the check down a little bit too quick. Give our guys a chance. The protection's going to be there. And all of a sudden we get that deep post, and here comes that crosser. Last time he threw that check down right here. That backer's thinking the same thing. Float it over. Man, I love that. I freaking love that out of Drake May. That is the perfect example of the in-game, a quarterback going to the sideline, looking at the tablet, a coach saying, hey, I don't mind the check down. It was 1st and 10. You got us a good play. I'm going to call it again. If we get a similar look, trust it. Let's try to take our shot at the over. It leads to points before the half and ends up winning them the game.
Yeah, big-time win this past Sunday night. I think for Patriots offenses for the last 20 years, we're talking about, like, precision, knowing exactly where to be and when to be there. There's an adjustment now because with Drake May, no play is ever dead. Think about at least 2 throws from this past Sunday night. I mean, the one he's getting dragged down by a defensive player. Like, you're telling Stephon Diggs, the play is not over until the ref blows the whistle. Another throw down the sideline that nearly was a touchdown for Stephon Diggs as well.
Yeah.
Like, there's some backyard football being played right now in New England, a little bit different than years past.
The other thing that is stand out is you can tell the quarterback understands the why of the play call.
Yeah.
I'm just calling a 5-yard completion, get it. Take it out. And so that's the way the quarterback tells the play caller with this play. Just keep calling it. I'll make the right choice. And when he's consistently making the right choice, I think it promotes some of that freedom.
You know, I haven't had the Patriots yet in games this year, but 2 coaches, Ben Johnson and Liam Cohen, have both said in our coaches meetings, I'm just trying to get the quarterback to visualize the play, to run through it in his head. And it's so interesting. It feels like Drake May is already there in the early going.
Tape absolutely says that.
Really cool. You see just his understanding and maybe the confidence too, right? I love that. Going back to a play, it shows how much the coach believes in him. All right, still to come. The Philadelphia Eagles finally face defeat, and the questions continue to fly, but Field, he's not concerned. Are you, Field? You're not.
Oh, we don't worry around here.
Find out why next.
If there's reason to worry, we can.